It was getting very bad, and I just was like, it must be detox. It must be detox.
I couldn't possibly be eating an inadequate amount of calories. Hey guys, today we're responding to another ex-vegan YouTuber. Were they sensible? Were they eating enough calories, enough range of different whole plant foods so they're getting all the different nutrients they needed? Or were they eating a ridiculous, restrictive, insufficient amount of food and, drinking their own wee-wee and silly things like this? I wonder.
I was vegan for 9 years, and I made YouTube videos about veganism. I made an ebook about it. In about 2014, I started to do it for my health.
If you were doing veganism for your health, you were never vegan. Veganism is an ethical belief that it's wrong to cause cruelty to or exploitation of animals. What you were doing was eating a plant food diet.
Watching YouTube videos from raw vegans and raw tofu vegans.
Denied. I'm not saying that it's impossible to eat a healthy raw diet or raw tofu diet. Make sure that you're getting enough calories. Make sure that you eat enough range of different plant foods. It's a lot more difficult, I will say. But what I am getting at here is that 99.9 reoccurring% of people, failed ex-vegan YouTubers, they seem to have that in common. Just the first red flag, know what I mean?
We both lost a lot of weight. I got down to 105 pounds.
You were losing weight. Did it possibly occur to you that you weren't eating enough calories? I've eaten a vegan diet for 10 years. Does it look as though I'm struggling?
When I was doing celery juice every morning and then raw all day.
Try eating some calories.
It was getting very bad, and I just was like, it must be detox. It must be detox.
I couldn't possibly be eating an inadequate amount of calories.
I'm making this video for other people who are still vegan or are trying to leave veganism.
What you actually said there was that you're making a video for people who are trying to stop caring about animal exploitation and cruelty. What you're actually doing is spreading dangerous misinformation.
I understand, when you're a vegan, it's like tunnel vision where you only see what you want to see.
If I was suffering from tunnel vision, I would have kept eating the diet that I ate my whole entire life. Instead, what I did is look at the evidence, saw that there's an overwhelming preponderance of data that we should be eating whole plant foods and not other junk, and I changed. A happy side effect is that it's more ethical too, which then led me on to veganism.
I can see things I couldn't see when I was deep in it, almost like a cult.
Cults have a leader. Who is the leader of veganism? Bagsy, we should pick me. Do you know what some cults do? Animal sacrifices. If anything, I say that you're in the cult. The one big cult that everyone's brainwashed with since birth. No, veganism is merely the philosophy that we shouldn't harm animals unnecessarily. Does that sound like a cult to you? If you'd like to optimize your health, body shape, or performance with a vegan diet, then please check out my new online nutrition course. I've launched it at a low introductory price. It contains 14 videos, 3 cookbooks, and masses of downloadable and printable PDFs, including a complete nutrition chart for all ages and stages of life, so you can be sure that the whole family is thriving.
Wow, I can't believe I thought that was okay, or that I explained it away, like I lost my period for a little while.
Do you know that people who eat an inadequate amount of calories lose their periods? There's also data showing that the higher percentage of raw foods that a woman eats, the more chance she loses her period. When you're eating 100% raw foods, the data shows that there's a 50% chance that you'll lose your period. Happily though, you can still be ethical by eating a more mixed vegan diet.
I was told by a raw vegan that it was because my body was no longer toxic because I had detoxed all the animal products, and so now my body can reabsorb the blood back into my body.
Well, there was your first mistake, believing Dave down the pub, or in this case, probably someone called Phoenix Whisperrain, who you met at Woodstock Fruit Festival with absolutely zero nutritional training, rather than some kind of an expert, say like a dietitian, for example.
That was crazy, that I was like, oh, well, now I'm just so clean, can reabsorb my period. I just felt like, I feel like I look back and I'm like, wow, I was deluded.
Hopefully you could look to the data, see that you're being deluded again, and stop eating a diet that's harming you, the animals, and the planet. A good starting point would be this position paper from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the largest body of nutritional professionals in the world. They state that an appropriately planned vegan diet is healthful, nutritionally adequate, and may provide health benefits for the prevention and treatment of certain diseases. These diets are appropriate for all stages of the life cycle, including pregnancy, lactation, infancy, childhood, adolescence, older adulthood, and for athletes. You can then check out the 100+ studies that they cited to come to this conclusion.
One thing, too, I just want to touch on in how we've lost ourselves in this lifestyle.
There's nothing wrong with health, ethics, and the environment becoming a massive part of your life. They're pretty freaking important things. I'm psyched to be able to say that I've built my whole life and career around it, but my nutritional knowledge was solid. You need to kind of get that right first, especially if you're going to dole out advice on the internet.
We don't come from wealth. We don't have a whole ton of money.
In one YouTube video, I've showed how you can get all your calories and nutrients for just £3 a day. Rice, pasta, dry lentils, frozen spinach, frozen berries, bananas, raisins. These are the cheapest foods in the world. Don't start that silly little argument.
When we got into the lifestyle, we wanted to get all the organic produce, every product, down to shampoo, conditioner, chapstick. Like everything was like, it had to be the best of the best.
What's that got to do with veganism?
That got us into $70,000 worth of debt.
You got yourself into $70,000 worth of debt. Imagine if you'd eaten enough calories, it would have been $140,000. Don't blame veganism for your inability to balance your checkbook.
We didn't buy television, we didn't buy a brand new car, we didn't buy anything that kept its value. It was all food and household products because we felt like that's what we had to do because we were so deep into it, so deluded into thinking that's what we had to do.
The only thing that you need to do in order to be vegan is to not purposefully harm animals.
When I was pregnant with Kaya, my first child in 2013, I had a very scary, unhealthy pregnancy, and I was vegan that whole time.
No, you were eating a terrible iteration of your version of a vegan diet at the time.
And I never wanted to admit that maybe veganism could have been the cause. I had pre-eclampsia, which then turned into actual eclampsia, which is very rare.
Veganism wasn't the cause. How can an ethical stance cause that? You undereating on a restricted variety of foods was the cause.
Later I learned that in order to absorb vitamin D, you need to have dietary cholesterol.
If we needed dietary cholesterol in order to absorb vitamin D, it would be classified as an essential nutrient, in the same way that vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acids, and essential amino acids are. Even if you do happen to eat animal products, only about 20% of your cholesterol comes from the diet. At least 80% of it you make yourself. If I made inadequate cholesterol, I'd have been dead about 10 years ago. No, we make all we need from acetyl coenzyme A in the liver. When we eat exogenous stuff, it raises the risk for heart disease, stroke, all-cause mortality, hypertension, just basically all the top killers. Why do you want to do that to yourself?
So then I ate eggs for like a year, and I still consider myself vegan at that point because I was getting the best eggs.
No, vegans don't eat animal products. Hashtag deluded though.
Still slightly anemic, eating just the eggs. And I decided at that point that I was not going to jeopardize my pregnancy for veganism.
When I used to work as a nutritionist, even when I prescribed the least amount of calories for someone, perhaps a woman on a weight loss diet, I got them 3.5x the amount of iron that they needed with no effort. Again, you just need to eat adequate calories. You need to eat the range of whole plant foods, legumes, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices. It's a real non-issue. I don't know what kind of restrictive nonsense you're eating, but you really dropped the ball, man.
I started unraveling the mental tricks that were going on in my head about why I can't eat animal products.
Why I can't eat animal products. I find that word really problematic. It's not that we can't eat them, it's that a vegan will choose not to eat them because they know the suffering that goes into that. No right-minded person wants to harm animals, so if anything, you had to kind of tangle everything up and do some mental gymnastics to try to make yourself feel okay about it.
What if I just let myself, for like a month, just eat whatever I want? No ethics.
No ethics, I would probably feel shame and guilt, I would imagine. What you could have done instead was to speak to a professional, say a plant-based dietitian. They'd have made it very easy for you, and then you wouldn't have had to pay for murder.
I don't want to self-diagnose myself, but I am fairly certain I was orthorexic.
The translation for orthorexia is right appetite. meaning that you're eating all the correct foods for your physiology. I don't see a problem with being orthorexic if you are actually eating the things that are correct for your physiology. Some people might like to call you a health freak for it. I would call those people a death freak.
I had an eating disorder where I had to eat pure and ethical.
What's unethical or unpure about broccoli, brown rice or pinto beans?
And I wanted to heal from that eating disorder.
Well, good for you, but you could have done that with healthy foods. Right now, you're causing immense suffering to animals, effing up the planet for future generations, and screwing up your own health. I hope that you will look into this further. No hate, just, I get upset when I see people throwing animals under the bus when they're just poorly educated. Now click this.